The shuttle's engines hissed as it detached from the orbital station. Below, the planet stretched out in shades of green, brown, and deep black rivers of lava. It was uncharted, unclaimed, and untamed, a world labeled Zytheranine in the reports. A place no colonist dared settle. Only creatures thrived here. Massive predators, endless swarms of insects, and plants that moved like thinking things. Every scout ship that touched down returned broken or empty. Lieutenant Aaron Cade, human and newly assigned to the survival team, stared at the readouts. Planet is uninhabitable, the AI repeated in its sterile tone. No breathable atmosphere beyond a 30-meter radius. Life signs indicate only hostile fauna. Mission success probability 0.07%. Aaron didn't flinch. He had read those odds 1,000 times. Humanity thrived in impossible places. That was the rule. He dropped into the thick jungles with a single pack, a modified survival suit, and tools that could turn anything into shelter. The shuttle disappeared into the clouds above, leaving him alone. The ground was alive. Twisting roots reached out like fingers, and vines hummed with electricity. In the distance, a massive shape moved. The first Zytheran predator was unmistakable, a quadruped the size of a small building, scales shimmering like oil slicks, and eyes that glowed green in the darkening forest. It sniffed the air, its claws leaving deep furrows in the soil. Most humans would have run. Aaron knelt, pulled out his scanner, and studied the predator. "They'll test boundaries," he muttered. "All predators do." He began building. Not a shelter, not a hideout, but a camp. Something that radiated confidence, intelligence, and danger. He dug trenches with shock nets, erected walls of reinforced titanium mesh, and set up silent warning drones that floated like tiny sentinels. But it wasn't just a fence. He scattered bait in precise patterns, each rigged with sonic and light dissuasion. Then he lit fires that burned without smoke, the flames dancing blue and white. The predator approached. Its eyes narrowed. The air vibrated with its growl. It lunged, but the ground beneath it triggered a shock net, sending it back with a cry. Aaron watched calmly from his perch on a reinforced tree platform. "You see, respect is earned," he said, almost to himself. By nightfall, creatures were everywhere. Not attacking, just watching. The predators, the crawling insects, even the luminescent plants seemed to circle his camp. And that was when Aaron noticed the subtle difference. They weren't curious. They were cautious. He moved like a human should, always observing, always adapting. He scavenged, recycled, and built. Every day, the camp grew. Defensive spikes became intricate labyrinths, watchtowers doubled as traps, and the fires created patterns that communicated threats without words. And then the real test came. A pack of Zytheran hunters, 7 of them, enormous and intelligent, stalked from the forest edge. They were coordinated, circling like generals planning a siege. Aaron stepped into the open. "Come on," he said calmly, voice amplified by a hidden speaker. "I'm not hiding. Take a look." They charged up, every trap activated with precision. Nets, sonic blasts, smoke bombs. The humans had predicted every movement. One predator tried to leap over a barrier, only to be met with a net that wrapped it like a cocoon. Another approached from behind, only to trigger a pit lined with electrified spikes. The largest one paused at the edge of a fire circle. Aaron stood in the center, unarmed, It roared a sound that would terrify any ordinary human. Aaron didn't move. Instead, he activated the final device, a light and sound array that mimicked the call of a larger predator. The alpha of the pack froze, ears twitching, eyes narrowing. The rest followed its lead. Within moments, the pack backed off, circling the camp but never crossing the threshold. Aaron exhaled. Welcome to the neighborhood. By the next cycle, creatures of all types began treating the camp differently. They no longer saw it as an intrusion, but as a force to be respected. Birds nested on the watchtowers. Small predators patrolled the perimeter like scouts. Even the massive Zytheranine predators adjusted their hunting grounds, avoiding traps and walking the edges with a cautious reverence. Aaron realized something profound. He hadn't just survived. He had imposed human will onto a world that rejected it. And the world had accepted, in its own way, weeks past. Aaron's camp became an ecosystem in itself. He planted genetically engineered crops in protective domes. He built water purification systems using local streams. Even the predators, once a threat, became part of the rhythm of life. He named them. The largest alpha, who had first tested the camp, became Shadow, the insect swarm that circled at night. Whisper, even the luminescent plants, had names, glow, and pulse, but survival was only part of it. Aaron began experimenting with communication. He observed patterns, studied body language, and used lights and sounds to convey intent. Slowly, the creatures responded. A predator that once lunged at him would now pause, tilt its head, or even step aside. Aaron was not taming them, he was negotiating. One night, while repairing a wind turbine he had built, a smaller predator approached him directly. It had been stalking him from the shadows for weeks. Aaron froze. It stopped 2 meters away, stared, and then laid a claw gently on his shoulder. It was a gesture of trust. Aaron smiled. You finally get it. We're not enemies. By the time a rescue team arrived months later, the planet was no longer uninhabitable. They expected to find ruins, perhaps a corpse. Instead, they found a thriving camp, complete with human-made structures, cultivated zones, and wildlife that behaved unusually cautiously around the human. Aaron didn't just survive. Zytheranine reshaped it. The rescue commander frowned. How did you do all this? Aaron shrugged. Humans adapt. We survive. We leave a mark. Shadow, the alpha predator, stepped forward, sniffed the commander, and then turned back toward Aaron. The message was clear. This human belonged here. Not as prey, not as an intruder, as a master of survival. From then on, Aaron's camp became a legend in human exploration reports. Colonists studied it, wrote about it, and tried to replicate it. None could match it. Not because the predators were stronger, but because humans had done something no other species could: impose strategy, intelligence, and will onto a wild, untamed world. Aaron stayed. He had come to Zytheranine expecting to die. Instead, he had become a living testament to humanity's greatest trait, even in worlds where only creatures survived. A human could build a domain that even predators respected, and in the endless green and black of that alien wilderness, he smiled. Because he wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. Asterisk.